never keep me down, I'm going. And if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up.
What's going on, everyone? Episode 49 of Lock and Talk Live. One away from the Big 5-0. I'm Wac, and today joining me is Shana from the DFW area. Shana, as you know, we got to start off with the big news. Braves are in the World Series. Congratulations to them. Tell me, how's your weekend?
You know, it was really great. It was really, really busy. We had a couple of media days out at TCA and Parrish. We had big games in the DFW area with big numbers, playoff berths. It's just exciting. And then obviously to top it off, the best part of my weekend was that the Braves are going to World Series for the first time in 22 years. It was absolutely exciting. I might have splurged a little bit and bought myself a new Braves hat in celebration, so I'm pretty excited.
Well, hey, I think when your team gets to the World Series, you kind of have to splurge a little bit, right? So I don't think there's any shame on splurging. I'm sure when we talk to Scott tomorrow, I think he's going to be back on the show tomorrow, I think he's going to say the same thing, that he as well splurged on some, World Series gear. And heck, I'm sure whoever wins, Braves or Houston, you're going to be splurging again. So, one of you's probably going to be splurging a little bit again. But, congrats to the Braves. Congrats to the Astros. I think, especially congrats to the Braves, 88 wins. I think they're one of the few teams in MLB history to make the World Series after having a losing record heading into All-Star Weekend. You look at who they took down one of the winningest teams in the league this year in the Dodgers. So congrats to them. We went from talking, does Atlanta deserve the home field for 88 wins to them being in the World Series. So great time for them. But of course, we are a high school sports show in the midst of football season and right before playoffs start for volleyball. I think if it's not this week, it's next week, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I know the last few games are happening this Tuesday, and then playoffs start after that. So big time for high school sports in Texas. Shana, just give us your thoughts on, maybe the week that was, the week that is going to be, and just in general on high school sports.
First of all, volleyball, our area, DFW volleyball, is just absolutely dominating the court. Private, public, any which way you see, they are doing the most. They are very strong. We're going to see strong DFW volleyball players headed towards state. With football, last week was crazy. So I don't know if you saw, but the Garland quarterback, he threw 8 touchdowns in a 61-24 win over North Garland. And I think it was something like 414 passing yards that he threw. Absolutely crazy. Ollie Gordon, he ran for 295 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns for a 49-21 Euless Trinity win over Weatherford. I don't know if you've been keeping up with Weatherford much, but they've been doing really good. So that win for Euless Trinity over Weatherford was really, really great for the Trojans. Big South Lake Carroll win to, clinch that playoff berth. They will. Eaton will still make playoffs, and I don't think the loss is anything that's going to hold them back. But it was an amazing game. I don't know if you saw any of that. It was a 47-24 win for South Lake Carroll. Owen Allen returned after being out last game with an injury, and he rushed for 163 yards, which makes, I believe, I have to double check this, but I do believe that means in every game so far this season, South Lake Carroll has had a rusher go for over 100 yards. I have a lot to talk about. I don't know if you want me to keep going with these games, or if you wanted to jump in with any of yours.
We can break it up. I'll talk some, you talk some. I know it was a big week indeed. I would say, I don't know if you saw this in the San Antonio area, the biggest kind of upset, if you will, definitely an upset when you think of how their season's gone, but Judson goes in and beats undefeated Smithson Valley 33-32, I believe. Yes, 33-32. Of course, this was week one of their interim head coach. As we know, last week their head coach got relieved of his duties. They come out with a definitely a statement win. I mean, it looked like a whole new kind of team, if you will, and Smithson Valley kind of shocked. Don't know. Let me look here. I don't know if that puts their district championship hopes in peril for Smithson Valley. Let me take a look here real quick while I have it kind of up on the schedule, because they are 7-1. I think they're still safe, but it definitely makes. So currently they are. This is according to Max Preps, of course. So I'm gonna pull up the standings here, but it says they're second in district. So let me take a look here and see how the district is standing. Yeah, so Steele and Smithson Valley. So that's going to mean, obviously at the end of the day, all Smithson Valley has to do is beat Steele, and they'll have district because of the head-to-head. So they definitely still control their destiny when it comes to district. And surprise, surprise, they play on November 5th. It feels like a lot of games. Very important games are happening on November 5th. I mean, we talk about, Lake Travis and Westlake as one of those games. So, but they all they have to do is beat East Central, which is kind of this week, which is coming off a loss to Braunfels. But definitely an unexpected loss for Smithson Valley. I think everyone was thinking you would have an undefeated Smithson Valley taking it on an undefeated Steele heading into week 11. So that was probably the most upsettiest game of the week. I'll turn it back over to you. I want to hear about some of these other games that took place this past week for you.
Yeah, definitely. And, you mentioned that November 5th date. Not only that, but that weekend you have the SPC championships for cross country and football. It's going to be absolutely crazy that entire weekend for every sport and every division. I don't know if you saw McKinney Boyd. They did lose to Denton Guyer. Denton Guyer was able to bounce back after kind of a shaky week last week. Boyd, it seemed like Boyd just couldn't find the right footing the entire game. Guyer's defense came out strong. I don't think Boyd was necessarily ready for the strength that Guyer's defense has. Don't get me wrong, they've still had an incredible season, and I think we can still see a strong campaign from them. And they should post a good game against Little Elm this week. I think one of the big games in DFW this past week, though, was Royce City. Crandall lost big time to Ennis a couple weeks ago. Royce City comes in undefeated, and they post a 65-63 score against Crandall. Crazy. The entire game saw nearly 1,500 yards of offense, and they remained really close through the final moments of the game. Royce City did come out with the win, and they are tied for first place in the district against Ennis, who they played this week, who blew out Crandall. So it's going to be an interesting game this week to see, what happened with Royce City and Crandall. Was Crandall just extra tough against Royce City? It's going to be a great thing to watch them play each other and see, who comes out on top in that first place for their division.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time you love as kind of football fans, if you will, because I mean, so many things are getting decided in these last few weeks. I mean, another example, San Marcos played Del Valle here in Austin on Thursday, so one of those Thursday night games, and they were down 28-14 at halftime. Now I don't know, and I could probably easily find this out, but their starting running back didn't play the first half for San Marcos, and they came out in the second half. He was playing. And they didn't get stopped once in the second half. They scored on all their drives, ended up coming back and winning by 2 scores. And that kind of puts them in driver's seat for that fourth playoff position in that district. As we know, Westlake's going to be 1 or 2, and Lake Travis is going to take that other 1 or 2 spot. It really depends. Probably it's going to come down to that November 5th game that's going to happen in 2 weeks. You got Bowie that's probably going to take the 3rd spot unless, San Marcos and Bowie play each other this Friday. So it's a big game for them. But really, all San Marcos needs to do is win one of their last 2. Or if Aikens loses one of their last 2 games, then San Marcos will get it automatically. Aikens plays Lake Travis this Friday. So San Marcos is looking pretty to probably grab that 4th spot. And I'm a big San Marcos homer, so I'm excited to see that game this Friday. I'll be there for it. So we'll see what happens for that San Marcos and Bowie game, potentially, because you really don't want to finish 4th, because if you do finish 4th, you're probably playing Vandergrift in the first round, and that's a team you do not want to see right now. Vandergrift is on fire. They really haven't had any competition so far this season. So you don't want to see them in the first round. That's for sure. Another close game. This was one of our pick'ems. Mason edges out Johnson City 26-21. I believe 2A right there. So a little 2A competition. Of course, hey, we try and talk about it all from 1A to 6A. Of course, 5A and 6A are more popular, as we know, but we try and cover them all if we can. So so Mason stays ahead of Johnson City there. Yeah, and I heard like Duncanville, a lot of people kind of I would say kind of slept on them after that first loss, but they're looking good this year, aren't they, Shana?
I think they're doing really good, and their first loss, you can't really fault them too much for that, because they were playing against one of the top teams in the nation. But they posted really strong wins. I think they're on a 6-game win streak, and they had absolutely a blowout win against Cedar Hill. I think it was something like 58. Cedar Hill maybe scored 1 touchdown. I can see how people slept on them, and they thought, oh, well, Duncanville, maybe they've lost, the power that they've had. But I don't think they've lost anything. I think they used that loss to fuel the rest of this season and really come out strong. And I think we'll see that continuing through the playoffs even.
Yeah, it's definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how all these games shape out as district gets closer. Any other games you want to talk about, Shana?
I do have a handful more. I think I have 3 more public schools and 1 private school, if you want me to hit those.
Go for it.
So I don't know if you saw, but Allen played without Jalen Jenkins, and they still won 35-14 over McKinney. Allen's been doing really great. They've clinched a playoff spot as the only undefeated in-district play team in their district. And if they beat Prosper, they will definitely secure the top seeded spot in the playoff bracket. Highland Park, I'm telling you, they have something special after that opening loss. They have won 7 straight wins. And last week with Christian Reeves and Jay Cox, they combined for 5 touchdowns in a huge win. Highland Park is now 4-0 in district play. We can expect them to be strong against Wiley East and West Mesquite. Honestly, anything could happen. Both of those games should be a cakewalk for the Scots. But I think we're going to see them finish the regular season strong. Rockwall Heath, they have been a strong passing team. Not last week. They decided to take it on the ground. Minnesota commit Zach Evans, he took charge the entire game. He rushed for 263 yards and a touchdown. They definitely took advantage of the strength on the legs. If the Hawks do beat Tyler Legacy this week, they will definitely secure a top-seeded spot in their district, likely Division II playoff bracket. And then, you've got to talk about Episcopal School of Dallas. They had a huge win over Houston St. John's on Friday. I think the score is 56-18. And with that win, they've remained undefeated on the entire season. Price Johnson ran for 163 yards and a touchdown, and the quarterback, Patrick Burke, added to the rushing yards and scored a touchdown of his own on 8 carries. I think we can expect to see a strong play from them in the battle for the state championship title. It's going to be really fun to watch them play.
Definitely going to be exciting. One team that is it keeps on, very much impressing me is Austin LBJ. They just beat Lampasas. They put 90 points up on Lampasas. Now, not saying Lampasas is a bad team or anything, but they are a great team, but they're a good team. And I was completely surprised with that result. Austin LBJ to me might be the front runner for 4A Division I right now. Just thoughts on that.
Austin LBJ, they're having a stronger season than I originally thought when we started doing the pick'ems. But 90 points, that's basketball scores. Like, come on, that's crazy. They're doing really great. I think, do they have 7 wins or 8 win streak right now?
I believe it's 8. I don't know if they've had their bye. It's 8 or 9. They're undefeated.
Okay, yeah, and I think I'm with you. They're definitely the front runners in that area. They've done really well.
Yeah, very well indeed. Let's see. One interesting note. This is just a just a kind of Texas high school football note in general, is that Sterling City lost today, or not today. They lost to Westbrook. It was Westbrook's first win over Sterling City since 1940. So 81 years it's been since they had lost that one. So what a crazy stat for that too. If you just kind of look at that, 81 years since they had beaten Sterling.
That's just absolutely crazy. You gotta love to see that. Seeing teams come in, and we've seen streaks broken all season long, but they've been positive streaks, not negative streaks. So to see a negative streak broken, just, it really puts the cap on the season to say no expectation is sacred anymore. Like, each week is a new game.
I mean, I think we've been talking about this really the whole kind of year. This is kind of the year where, streaks end. And I mean, it's just crazy to think that so many of these streaks have ended. So one other thing of note, this is really crazy. So, I mean, there are over 1,400, Texas high schools, mind you, but we still have 91 of them that are undefeated. And that's kind of crazy to think about that, this far into the season, we have 91 schools that are still undefeated. Some will lose that undefeated streak this week because we do have some undefeated head-to-heads coming up. So, but it's just crazy to think about when you think, 91 schools throughout the state are still without a loss this far into the season.
It's absolutely crazy because, I mean, I sit there on Friday nights and Thursday nights and I do the Dallas area scoreboards, and I'm just like, in my head, that's a lot of teams. But when you take the time to sit there and look at all of the teams across the state, how they're doing, I like to keep up with the other areas, see, I like to keep track of the pick'ems. If I'm doing well, I'm usually not, but that's okay. And watching all of these teams fight for something that they really want, I was actually talking about this week. It's like no other. There's somebody that I met in the press box who moved to Texas from California to specifically work in sports. And they said their first high school football game was a culture shock because it's not like that anywhere else. So it's crazy to see all of these teams in Texas and to see so many of them do really, really well season after season.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's about probably 8% of teams or something like that. So, I mean, it's not, or maybe less than that, probably around 7 or 6%. I'm just kind of spitballing there. No, it's less than 10%, but it was still a crazy thing to think of. So that's about all for our football talk today. Unless, Shana, you have any other games you want to mention?
I don't.
Perfect. I mean, we got volleyball right around the corner. We should probably talk about that next week once playoffs rolls around. But I think it is time for our favorite show. I know Scott's not here, but we're going to play it anyway. That's right. It's time for Who's That Mascot? So for those of you that might be watching for the first time, Who's That Mascot is a kind of a fun little game we play. Not not Squid Game level. For those of you that have watched Squid Game, don't worry, nothing that crazy. But it's a little fun game we play where I give Scott usually, but last week and this week Shana, a name of a school, and they have to tell me the name of the mascot. So with that being said, Shana, are you ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll as long as it's not Squid Game style.
Definitely not Squid Game style, which, by the way, if you haven't seen that yet, people, definitely check it out. A very great show. I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, it's definitely not kid-friendly, so if you have kids, don't let them watch it.
No.
But definitely a good kind of suspenseful show.
I like to say it's like Saw meets Hunger Games.
Yeah, it really is. And, it's not really a new genre of TV. There's been some other kind of similar shows. I think if you really think back, kind of an old school movie, Battle Royale, was kind of comes to mind when people kind of talk about that. Yeah. Anyways, back to the fun stuff, though. Let's go with your first one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Your first one is Bass Drop.
Bass Drop is the, I don't know this one. I know they play Pflugerville, but I don't know what their mascot is.
You want to take a stab? take a stab in the dark?
I'm going to say the Mustangs.
The Mustangs. That is incorrect. They are the Bears, the Bastrop Bears. They just won a close game against Pflugerville Connolly. So, yeah, let's move on to our next one. This one is in your neck of the woods. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Dallas, South Oak Cliff.
Oh, South Oak Cliff. I believe, aren't they also the Bears?
Final answer?
Yes, that's my final answer.
That is correct. They are the Dallas South Oak Cliff Bears. They were the ones where a few weeks ago for one of the pickups I picked against them, and they embarrassed me by blowing out the team. I forget who they were even playing at that point. So, all right, you ready for your final one? Trying to go two?
I'm ready. Let's see.
Trying to go 2 for 3. This is a team that is kind of shaking up things in the Houston area a little bit. Just had a very dominant victory this past Friday. Katie Pitau. Oops, I hit the wrong button there.
Katie Pitau. Look, I automatically got it right without even trying. The Katie Pitau, I want to say they're the Panthers. They're a big cat. I'm going to go with Panthers. I just did Parrish. I'm going to say Panthers.
All right, final answer, Panthers. The Jordan brand that they rock every Friday. That is correct. See, I just knew already. That's why I hit the right answer button before the countdown music. So I knew you were going to get it right. 2 for 3. I think Scott has some competition. You've been dominating this. I mean, even when you've helped him out, you've done really well. So Scott has some competition in these Who's That Mascot challenge. So
it's going to be like Braves versus Astros mascot challenge.
We should really do that. Yeah, we should do some type of challenge for that. So, all right. Well, before we go, we of course have to do our last segment of the show, and that's One Good Thing. That's where myself and my co-host, which is this week Shana, tell you one good thing from this past week. It could be something sports related, something life related. It doesn't have to be sports related. So, Shana, I'm going to start with you. What's one good thing for you?
So, I mean, if I'm going to go with the not obvious, I started watching Ted Lasso, and it's really amazing. And at first I thought, this is all the hype. But Ted Lasso is one good thing for me. And then obviously the obvious is the Braves. I mean, come on, how could I not go with that? Not only are they going to the World Series for the first time in 22 years, they're doing it over the Dodgers. They had a 3-1 lead. They lost that game, and I thought, oh no, like it's going to be a repeat of last year. Dodgers are going to come in and they're really going to run away with this. But no, they didn't. And now we're headed to the World Series.
Now, before I give you my one good thing, I had that. Well, I got a couple of things, but first, will the Braves win it all? What is your gut telling you?
So I want to say yes. I want to be hopeful, so I'm just gonna say yes. I'm gonna be a fan through the end, regardless, obviously. And I'm usually a fan of not such great teams like the Chargers, who are also doing very well this season. So I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say this is the year for them.
All right. Well, we'll see if you're correct. If not, I'm sure Scott will rub it in your face thoroughly. As you know, he's a Astros fan. So on Monday, come Monday, we're gonna have a better idea of where this series stands, and hopefully both of you are on the show. So I mean, heck, you may even be on both on the show. We'll have to see about Thursday. Me and him both have to be in San Antonio for a VYPE campus photo shoot. So we'll see if we do the show or not. But we'll keep everyone updated on that. And also Ted Lasso.
Tell you what, they're gonna win it all for Hank.
There you go. I tell you what, Ted Lasso there. I mean, I'm glad you started watching that show. That is such a great show. Cannot say enough good things about it. I think my one good thing is our countdown to kickoff, the St. Pius one versus St. Thomas that we did. Went extremely well. And yeah, that's I think that's my one good thing. Actually, before we go, this is something I've tried to incorporate the last few weeks, and I'm going to do it here again. It is our plays of the week. So our plays of the week, which I kind of handpick, if you're not handpick, I guess you could say handpick, and put it out every Saturday around noon. It was a little bit later this week because I got home around 2:30. Didn't go to bed till about 3 on Saturday because of the countdown to kickoff, which was in Houston. I live in Austin, as you know. So they came out a little bit later. And then later today, the poll will go live. So these plays you're seeing, you can vote on what you feel is the play of the week. So without further ado, here are your plays of the week for Week 9.
Nolenberg is up and on the way, and it's going to be short as it bounces in the end zone near the H.
I think there may have been a
field goal attempt is not good.
And Wade actually picking it up. Is this ball live? I think this ball's live. They didn't blow a whistle. He picks it up in the end zone. Going the other way is Pierce Hayes. 20, 15, 10, 5, end zone. Are they going to call it a touchdown? And touchdown, St. Pius the 10th.
Six. Left-footed punter. And caught at the 36-yard line, up to the near sideline, 40, 45. So much speed across the 50. This could be it, 40. Cutting it back to the 30. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Your first punt return touchdown in Vandergrift High School history. And it is, as I predicted, Miles Coleman.
Yeah, you had that prediction to stay on and continue this drive.
The handoff right side. First down and more. There goes Jay Cox across the 20. A mean stiff arm. He's still loose. Inside the 10. Touchdown Highland Park. Jay Cox.
What a great run. I mean, he broke to the outside.
We'll run out the clock here. Fonda with the snap. Looks left, find his man. Cuts back up the middle. Dodge some tacklers and in for the touchdown. Number 9.
The gun. Joyner moves. Low stop. Fires. It is intercepted. It's going to be a pick 6 touchdown. Rice. Edwin Dorzon.
See if we can get another one to spark this Lions offense. Luna gets the punt. Shakes one defender. Shakes another defender. He's still on his feet. Going to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Keegan Luna. Mr. Do It.
Arrington fakes the handoff, cuts upfield. This time he has rooms to run, breaks through the defense, crosses the 50, the 35, the 30, stays in bounds, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Bobcats.
Landon Arrington.
Landon Arrington taking the distance.
Those were our Week 9 plays of the week. You'll be able to vote on which one you want to have which one you feel should be play of the week, which we'll release those on Wednesday. Look, this is your vote, so you can do what you want. But and heck, St. Pius lost that game, but that play was amazing. Obviously I was there for it. Josh and Will were both there for it. I mean, kind of just good awareness by that athlete there. I mean, he almost didn't know what to do with it. I think he maybe got some help from the sideline there, probably people screaming for him, but to pick it up and run it all the way back, I mean, what did you think about those plays of the week, and especially that one?
So I actually took notes on 3 of them, because when I first saw that St. Pius one, I was like, that's it. That's the play of the week. To have that sort of wherewithal, whether or not you have somebody on the sideline saying, pick up the ball, run, like just run with it. To listen for no whistle, to see where the ball stopped. It took me back to, I don't know if you saw a couple seasons ago, North Texas did a kickoff return. It might have been a punt return. I think it was a kickoff return. I think it was the first play of the game against Arkansas, where he didn't fair catch it. And it took a whole team effort. They all stopped. They pretended to walk off the field, and the North Texas receiver ran it I think it was all the way for a touchdown. It's a risk. To have that sort of wherewithal, though, that alone would get my vote. You got to give it, though, to Vandegrift for the first punt return in history. That's amazing. Great job making that history. And then I just wanted to say that side fair touchdown, the speed on that kid. Like, at first I was like, do they speed this video up? Obviously not. He has some wheels, man.
Yeah, definitely. All good choices. Look, you can't go wrong with any of them. I feel like some great ones, like you said. I mean, Vandegrift. So Vandegrift isn't a terribly old school, 13 years, but still 13 years and no punt return. So definitely some great history there. Had to include that one. So like I said, this one should go live around 3 p.m. today, folks. You can vote as many times as you want, and up until noon on Wednesday. So vote for your play of the week. I think I know which one I'm voting for. But that is all. That is everything for our show today. Shana, if people want to get in touch with the DFW area VYPE, how do they do that?
Definitely follow along on Twitter. We're at VYPE DFW. We're constantly pumping out polls, different scores, and just lots of content for the Dallas area. And then on Instagram, it's going to be a little bit different. It's at VYPE_DFW. Again, we have daily content. And then on that Thursday and Friday, we have the scores that you're not going to want to miss.
And of course, if you want in the Austin or San Antonio, obviously we don't do as much news with the Austin San Antonio area, but we try to keep things fun, at least like the pick'ems and stuff like that. Go to VYPE ATX or VYPE SATX. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. And until then, that's going to be our Monday show. We'll be back tomorrow with some Houston area recap stuff and some big games coming up this week that I'm sure that we'll want to talk about. Till then, we've been Locker Talk Live. We'll see you